Welcome to Tech Tuesday. Today we are going to be talking about the specs on computers, whether it be a desktop, a laptop, or some other personal type of device that uses the same type of equipment internally. That's what we're going to discuss, be giving you some insight on what you need to be looking for when you're going shopping for a computer. Okay, so I get asked this quite a bit. What do I need to look for, or what do I need to avoid whenever I'm going to buy a computer? Now, sometimes people may want desktops, although those are becoming more and more uncommon. They still are out there. However, rest assured, what I'm about to tell you applies to desktops as well as laptops, and even the becoming ever more popular winbooks, as well as the Surface tablets that run Windows. Now, I'm not going to get into iPads and all that sort of thing that run their own OS. This is just going to be Windows-based devices because they're kind of their own unique niche. So, what's the first thing you need to look for? RAM. Also known as random access memory, or sometimes just referred to as the memory of the computer. Not to be confused with the storage, we'll get to that in a minute. But the memory of the computer, it's basically what allows the computer to do what it does without just taking forever. So when you're looking at a computer, if you're doing it for work, basic office job, or for school, for example, a computer with 4 gig, that's GB, of memory would be sufficient. Now, that's nothing phenomenal. That's kind of the standard anymore. Sometimes things are available with 2 gig. I would strongly recommend to avoid those at any circumstance, unless your budget just will not allow you anything else. Okay, so 4 gig minimum. Now, if you're going to be doing more intensive work, you may look for something with about 8 gig. You don't need anything above 8 gig unless you're a graphic designer or something like that, and then you probably don't need me telling you what to look for. Okay, so the next thing is the storage space, the hard drive space. How many files can you save on the computer? It's getting pretty common anymore for there to be a lot of storage space on computers. However, a lot is also used anymore for different things. Your pictures, your music, those things take up a lot of file space, a lot of storage space. So I would highly recommend for personal use, just because if you're like me, you're taking pictures of every time your kid takes their first step, every time they blow their nose on their own for the first time. That may be an exaggeration, and it may not be. Anyways, you want to look for something with a lot of storage space. Personally, I wouldn't recommend anything below 250 gig. Now, again, some of you may not know exactly what I mean by these phrases, but this gives you something to tell the people when you go into the store saying, here's what I want in a computer. So nothing below 250 gig. Now, again, if you're only going to be doing something online, never saving pictures, never saving music, that type of thing, you could probably get by with something with 100 gig or less. I just personally would not recommend it. Now, again, if you're doing a lot of stuff, if you do saving pictures, maybe you take pictures and so you edit them and work on them on your own, you have a pretty good idea how much space that takes up. I would honestly look for something with probably a terabyte of storage space. That would fill up pretty quick, believe it or not. So the next thing is the processor. Now, there are all kinds of variants of the processor, and I'm not going to go into details, but just for the sake of simplicity, the most common ones are the Intel i3, i5, and i7. Basically, it's a low class, middle class, and high class based on the numbers, the i3, the i5, and the i7. So again, for standard home use, an i3 is probably going to be sufficient for you. If you get a little more intensive, an i5, again, unless you are just doing graphic design or something, an i7 is not essential for you to have in a computer, and it will also greatly raise the price. Okay, last and final thing is, whenever you go to look for a computer, well, do I go to Best Buy? Do I go to Walmart? Do I go to Office Depot? Where do I go? In all honesty, that has very little bearing as long as you make sure the prices are in the range that you can afford. The cheap ones at Walmart, the Acers, the Asus computers, a lot of those, they are sufficient. So they used to be cheap, not very good, but anymore, even the cheaper name brands are very reliable. So I've covered quite a bit really, but yet without going very in depth. If you have any questions, please comment below. We will keep up with the comments to the best that we can, get back to you as soon as we can. And if you have any input of your own, anything else, any suggestions for any future Tech Tuesday topics, please comment below. Make sure to subscribe so you catch all of our break time videos as they come out. You don't want to do that to yourself, trust me. You want to know. So give this video a thumbs up and join us next Tuesday for Tech Tuesday.